Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I want to talk about the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. We just saw about 2 hours ago the Heat won their game against the Chicago Bulls, punched their ticket into the playoffs, and they got the number one overall seed Boston Celtics to face in Boston. That series starts on Sunday morning on ABC. I have made so many mistakes when it comes to this Miami Heat team. I didn't even think they'd be here. I picked Chicago to win this game. Jimmy Butler's out. Terry Rozier's out. Josh Richardson is out for the season. I just didn't really think much of the Heat in the play-in tournament this year. I didn't think much of the Heat last year in the play-in tournament. And they always make me look foolish when I get on here and pick against them. Unfortunately, it's really tough for me to see them overcoming a team that has over 60 wins on the season, who has had their number this year. They saw them 3 times this year. Boston won all 3 of those matchups. One of them was 143 to 110. I mean, it's total domination in the regular season there, and I just I don't see a way for the Heat to really have any success in this series. I'm not gonna lie to you. When you really look at the matchups, you got Tyler Hero, you got Jaime Hawkes, you got Kevin Love, you got Bam Adebayo. Um, Maybe they have a way, by way of their fantastic coaching, to scheme up a way to just muck up these games and make them ugly. But the Boston Celtics have somewhat of a super team. They definitely have a super starting lineup. And I just don't know what you're going to do with them. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White, Porzingis, and Drew Holiday. That's just too much coming at just about everybody. Now the bench got Peyton Pritchard. He's starting to step into his own. You got Xavier Tillman, who's a strong player, played for the Memphis Grizzlies last year. Underrated big man who could pass the rock, rebound the ball some, make plays for others. A strong guy. I see Al Horford back there, who still contributes. His game ages well because it doesn't really change from the fact that he can stretch the floor, sort of like um, Kevin Love. They can hover in this league for a long time because they can always rebound and shoot. It's just a bad matchup for the Heat this year without Jimmy, man. I don't know how many games Jimmy's supposed to miss. Terry, same thing. Maybe if they can get Terry back, they can extend um, this series some, because obviously Terry Rozier has an extensive history with the Celtics, having started his career there and played there for many years. Um, I would imagine that he would really want to play well against Boston and would probably propel them to some serious heights. If the Heat were healthy, I give them a bit more than a puncher's chance to upset this series because they beat that team last year. And I think the coaching difference is severe between um, what Miami's bringing to the table and what Boston's bringing to the table. I just think that at the end of the day, though, basketball players play basketball. It's who is on the floor that ultimately tells the story. And Joe Mazzulla is a second-year guy who has a certain type of system. And I thought the Boston Celtics did a fantastic job this year of putting players on the floor who could execute that system very well. And it's Mazzulla ball is shooting threes. They're going to attempt a lot of threes, and they're going to play hellacious defense. And I expect for them to shoot the crap out of the ball in these playoffs, man. I really do. Porzingis, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, Peyton Pritchard, they're all going to shoot the ball. Sam Hauser, they're shooting, man. And so I think that the three ball is going to be very important for the Miami Heat. If you're going to try to keep up with this team, you got to be able to score the ball. Now the problem is they only have a few players they can really attack with right now. You're looking at Jaime Hawkes, obviously Caleb Martin is out there also, and Nikola Jovic, who's starting to really step into his own. Um, of course, Tyler Hero, who's going to have to be the star until Jimmy and Terry get back. Bam Adebayo, who can get others involved, but I don't expect him to score more than 20 points on a given night. Maybe he has a night where he goes over 30, but you're not going to get that from him every night. It's just a tough matchup for the Heat. Kevin Love's going to have to hit his shots. they're all going to have to basically get hot, stay hot, and muck the game up defensively in such a way that is extremely disruptive to star level players. And when you consider the backcourt of Derek White and Drew Holiday, I mean, I just don't know if there's a better defensive backcourt in all of basketball right now. And you look at the rim protection of Porzingis, his shooting ability, stretching the floor. I mean, it just goes on forever when you consider the matchups. I understand what Miami has accomplished against the Celtics last year. But you got to understand the severity of Boston's need for revenge in this series. They were down 3-1, won 2 straight, if I'm not mistaken, and then they lost game 7. That's a hell of a way to lose the series if you're the Boston Celtics. But you also consider you've made certain changes. They've made some changes, and you'd have to think that you're much better than them this year, this go around. And so, with that bulletin board material, coupled with just the injury issues that the Heat have versus the Celtics, who are practically 100% healthy, I don't know if you can really give the Heat even a puncher's chance to get a game in this series this year. A game. But I will say this. The Miami Heat find ways of being productive and competitive. They find ways, man. They find ways. And the Boston Celtics have lost games because they take their foot off the gas at times. Especially in close games. I don't trust them down the stretch if the game is close. And from possession to possession to possession, I have a strange feeling that Miami is going to dig in and find some way to be competitive in most of these basketball games. I don't know if it's going to translate to them being able to overcome what the Celtics have this year. In fact, I'm pretty damn certain it isn't. Not this year. But I think that you have to respect Spoelstra in such a way to expect that if there is a way for that unit to do the impossible, he's going to figure it out. So here's what I have for you in regards to this. I think the Miami Heat are going down one way or another. I do think the Celtics are going to win the series, but I have this thing going 6. I have it going 6 because the Miami Heat, from possession to possession to possession, are going to scheme so entirely well. And Mazzulla's teams, he has a long way to go before he's a really good coach in this league. I think Mazzulla is going to have trouble with Spoelstra. Forget just the basketball players, the schemes of what they're going to be running. Spoelstra's going to run circles around Mazzulla. But I think Mazzulla's talent on the floor is going to overcome that. Now, if this were different circumstances, with different teams, these same problems, this is a sweep. Maybe a puncher's 5 game, but because of the vast difference between the level of coaching and play calling, I think that Spoelstra is going to make this a real series, man. I think he's going to make it a series. I think Mazzulla is going to get better as a coach, and I think his team is souped up in such a way to really make it strong for him. But I still think he's probably going to have to drop some games to Spoelstra, off the strength of just how elite Spoelstra is and how he manages to find stuff out of people that probably no other coach could get anything out of. Guys are going to play out of their mind. And eventually, in my opinion, Terry Rozier will be returning to this series. Maybe Jimmy Butler, but I doubt it. I don't think Jimmy will be available at all. But Terry, I think, will be coming back very soon. So if that's the case, they got that lethal scorer down there, that gunslinger who's going to be able to put up 25, 30 points if he's well. So that's my prediction. My official prediction right now is Celtics in 6. Would I be surprised if this Celtics sweep? Not necessarily. Would I be surprised if it goes 5? Not necessarily. But I just expect Spoelstra, the greatness of Eric Spoelstra, and coupled with the feistiness of the players on the floor and the ability for them to play defense, particularly Bam Adebayo, who's going to give hell to whoever he's guarding. Um, I think he's gonna. I think that team is going to do better than would be expected, which is what they always do. This is who they are every year. You count them out, and they find a way. I told everybody before the end of the play-in tournament last season that the Miami Heat should blow it up because they didn't have enough talent. I thought the team was a wash. I thought it was over with. They looked bad. They had just lost the first play-in tournament game. Proceeded to win the second play-in tournament game that night after I made that video, and it went to the NBA Finals, man. So far be it from me to believe it makes any sense to underestimate the Miami Heat. I underestimated them against Chicago Bulls. They made the Chicago Bulls look like a college team tonight. So that's really what it comes down to. You're going up against the best record team in the league. I don't know if they're the best team in the league, but they're going up against the best in the East for certain. But the East, and I keep telling y'all, the East is extremely weak. And the Celtics have had the benefit of beating up on bad teams all year long. When it comes to Spoelstra in playoff time and the intensity that you're going to have to go up against with him and his unit, they're going to play you harder than probably anybody else. They're going to be in high level shape, and it's just to be expected that they find ways of making games ugly and winning those basketball games, especially in their building. And I tell you the truth, I do not trust the Celtics. As many wins as they've had, some of the losses that they've taken were just egregious, and they take their foot off the gas. They mismanage certain circumstances down the stretch with the clock, as we've documented on this channel. And I don't really trust them. I think they're living strong off of the souped up nature of their talent in that starting lineup. I really believe that. And the weakness of that Eastern Conference that they've been able to dominate. That's what I think the Boston Celtics are living off of. I don't think they have great coaching. I think their bench is not very good. I think that's what the best way to say it is, not very good. And they really can't withstand too many injuries. Luckily enough, they're healthy for themselves right now. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, perennial all-stars. Porzingis, fantastic star. Drew Holiday, one of the greatest defenders. Derek White, one of the most underrated guards. They got talent on talent on talent in the starting lineup. But after you get past Peyton Pritchard and you start asking Al Horford and some of those other guys to really step up, Tillman, you have to wonder if they can really withstand an injury to a Tatum or an injury to a Brown or an injury to Drew Holiday or any of those guys in that starting lineup. You just don't really see them overcoming any of what Miami's dealing with right now. And so that's my concern for the Celtics. Is can they withstand any injury at all, since they're so reliant on their top 7, top 8? As many teams are. But for them, you have to wonder if they have to put those bench players in the game for any length of time, will they be giving up leads? And against an Eric Spoelstra-led basketball team, the answer is yes. Yes, you will be. And so that's really what it comes down to, man. I think the Heat are going to find some magical way to squeeze 2 victories out of this series. I really do believe that. But I still think they go down. I think the Celtics are just a little too good for them this year. With the injuries they got going on, this a little too much. It's a little too much this year. So that's really my take on this series, man. Celtics in 6. And, obviously there's a lot to learn about for me in regards to Eastern Conference teams. I don't follow these teams like that. But I just got to look at the Miami Heat right now. And, of course, the Celtics. Everybody knows what they got. So, matchups can get a little tricky, I'd imagine, for the Heat. The pressure that their guards are going to be taking on is going to be immense. But at the end of the day, I just think the Celtics are going to overcome them all the way around. Just because it's just too much coming at you. If you're the Heat, it's just too much. So that's pretty much my take on the series, man. Hope everybody's enjoying what I'm doing here. I'll try to follow these series as closely as I can. I don't know if I'm going to be checking in after every game every night. But the playoffs are here, man. So we'll be having a lot to talk about. And of course, that's pretty much what I gotta say. My name is BDF44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.